get more on those numbers from the man who knows them best. He's Wolfgang Schaefer, the Chief Financial Officer at Continental, and he joins me now from Hannover in Germany. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. There's so much concern, of course, about these raw material increases going forward. We still don't know where the US debt is going. We still don't have any resolution in sight for the European crisis. Are you overall more optimistic or less optimistic now than you were just 2 months ago?
Well, actually, we have raised our guidance for this year from 28.5 to 29.5 billion euro top line. So that shows we are optimistic for the second half of the year. We think the run rate, which we have seen in the first 2 quarters, in the first half of the year, is going to continue in the second half of the year. And if we look at all early indicators, which we have, like the inventory level of dealers, like incentives which are given to sell cars, all these are on a moderate level, so there is no sign that business should slow down.
But do you have a crisis plan in the event that the US defaults and actually markets collapse?
No, we don't have a crisis plan for this specific thing, but of course Continental is always prepared and always has plans should there be a downturn that we would react fast. But this is something which every company of our size should have, and we have that constantly, and we constantly discuss different scenarios in the development of our markets.
What's your biggest concern? You have to contend with higher raw material costs, you have to contend with currency fluctuations, a lot more volatility and a lot more uncertainty. What is your biggest fear for the next 12 months?
Actually, on the currency side, we are naturally hedged in most cases. So as our industry is very much integrated, as you know, we are mostly producing where we are as well selling, and so currency, natural hedge, not a big concern for us. Of course, natural rubber and synthetic rubber prices were increasing strongly. Natural rubber already for 18 months, synthetic rubber now in the last 6 months, and specifically the last quarter very strongly. And this is more a concern for us. On the other hand side, we know that for a very, very long time already, again and again, raw material price increases, and we always have passed that on to the end consumer because this is such a big chunk of cost in our P&L that we have to pass it on.
But what do you think about the European debt crisis situation? What would you be asking politicians to do now? Because some analysts, of course, are saying that Germany can't continue paying forever for the rest of Europe. And if they do continue paying forever, they may lose yourself. That this is, of course, a country, your AAA credit rating. And that would be a disaster, I imagine, for all German businesses.
Well, I don't want to give recommendation how to deal on that crisis. The only wish which we have as a company is to get to a solution which is stable in the end and which takes all this insecurity out of the, at the moment, only financial markets. But this goes on. If this would go on for a while, with this type of discussion, there would be the risk of a spillover as well to the consumer confidence and to our markets. So our wish is to get a solution which stabilizes it in the short term.
But how do you deal as a company with this situation? If you're looking for stable growth, are you looking for the emerging markets because they seem to be, weathering the storm a bit better? Growth is certainly higher in those countries than it is here in Western Europe.
Well, we see in China, in Brazil, if I just take these two as an example, where we are as well strongly represented, we see growth there. We foresee growth for the year, and we do see that these growth rates of the first half should continue as well in the second half, as well for these countries as we see it for Europe and the US. So we don't see a big difference in the change of growth rates first to second half of the year. But on the other hand side, our financing is stable until over the next years. We have a stable financing. We have cash on hand of more than 1.5 billion in our balance sheet. We have secured credit lines. So from that point of view, I'm not worried. And
so cash that would be used for acquisitions, for example, to grow in countries which have more stable growth, or cash that you just want to keep as a kind of backup plan in case anything goes wrong?
Now, this is actually the cash level which we think we should have. And if you look back on Continental, this is the level of cash we have had always in the last quarters. We think that is right for a business of our risk profile.
All right, Mr. Schaefer, thank you so much. That was the Chief Financial Officer of Continental, Wolfgang Schaefer.